looks like Bethesda is completely desperate with Starfield, which is so strange and unexpected because Starfield is such a good game, right? Right? Right?
So it's been interesting to see how the reception of Starfield has been like over the course of its post-launch period. On Metacritic
Horrible.
right now, it's sitting at an 83 from 90 critics, which is definitely not among the highest rated Bethesda games. Like, not horrible, but, people were definitely, I think, hoping for higher. And then user score is sort of, good to mixed at a 7.0 out of 10 from over 11,000 user ratings. But
Oh man, you can already tell that Young is absolutely terrified of saying anything too critical of Bethesda because, everyone is. Most people at least are. Because if you say something bad about Bethesda, guess what? You're not getting Elder Scrolls 6. It was the same thing that, Bethesda did with Starfield. If you had critiqued them previously, you didn't get the Starfield review copy. Only the people who rated it 100 out of 100 and got the sweet big views at the very, very start got the Starfield review copy. And now the same thing is gonna most likely happen to Elder Scrolls 6. Wow. Integrity.
looking at Steam, the situation is a little more interesting as Starfield over time has lowered its user review score from like positive to now a mixed score of 69%. Nice, from 81,000 user reviews. The recent scores have been closer to 58%. And the general feedback has been a lot of kind of the issues that I had with the game, which is that while there's some cool like side quest content here and there, some good storylines, gunplay also generally feels pretty good in this game, and I think the shipbuilding aspect is something that's been really well done with just
He's terrified. He's terrified of saying anything bad. This is great. A lot of people had like the bad, a lot of people are like me, didn't have it. Shipbuilding is great though. The gunplay, oh my god, the side quests, amazing.
how customizable ships are, and some of the creations we've seen have been really cool. I was disappointed
Wow.
by the main quest. I was disappointed by how fetch questy it all was and how repetitive it was. And then the exploration, I think, is the biggest qualm that people have with the space element of the game being the thing that gets in the way, because space is just so much empty space that a lot of stuff is now segmented and separated across all these different planets. And so there's
You know what's ironic? Young currently is doing the best job that anyone has actually said, like promoting Starfield. Because on average, no one even mentions the good gunplay, which I don't absolutely even remotely closely agree on. Because after the first bullet, everything just plays around in a circle, and that's kind of stupid. And the side quests are as bad as the main quest. Let's not lie here. But hey, if other people who are Bethesda fanboys defend Starfield with, well, you know what, it's not the worst game in history of ever, it's only the second, actually, worst game in the history of ever, but it's not the worst. That's usually their defense. No one talks about anything remotely good about Starfield when they're trying to tell you and defend that Starfield's not a bad game. Young, yeah, at least lies. Hey, at least he lies. Oh my god, cool ship design that no one literally cares about. Oh my god, good gun gameplay, which is horrible, still absolute trash. Fallout 4 honestly did it better. It really, really did, huh? And, well, what else? Oh, the side stories. Yeah, the side quests that are as boring as they can ever honestly be. But those are the good parts. At least Young lies about Starfield. You gotta give him props for that, Bethesda.
no cohesion anymore. It's not just one giant open world that feels like handcrafted, but rather a lot of little things separated across the galaxy, and the planets themselves aren't all that interesting to explore. Even the more handcrafted planets feel like just lesser open worlds compared.
Also, by the way, this is a lie. There's no such thing as a handcrafted planet, okay? There are handcrafted locations, like the main cities and whatnot. But those are very rare few in between. They're sporadic at best. You have the main cities that are handcrafted, which honestly might as well be AI generated because of how honestly boring they are and how little they have to offer and how you want to use fast travel inside of them even. But then you can't understand where your quests are for some reason, so fast traveling doesn't even work in the main cities. And, well, that's pretty much it. They might as well be AI generated because they are the most uninspired things in the game.
Compared to one cohesive open world like, Skyrim and stuff like that. And then beyond that, I think just generally the age of the creation engine is starting to show. And while Starfield does use an enhanced...
Starting to show, everyone. Dude, say what you will. Young's really good at that fellatio thing. Bethesda, give him an Elder 6 scroll key. He deserves it.
Version of the creation engine, the foundation of it is still the creation engine, and so the presentation, the AI issues, the animations, and the uncanny valley of NPCs, like there's just a lot here that feels like it hasn't caught up to more modern RPGs and what they've been able to accomplish. Well, Bethesda games
hasn't caught up. Again, if you haven't played Starfield, you're probably thinking, wow, this is is he saying anything right? Wrong. Well, the thing is, if you haven't played Starfield yourself, you're probably thinking this is good critique. But no, understand that Starfield is absolutely horrible. The engine, the game looks like it's 15 years in the past at this point. It's not just it's not the best engine and the age is showing. No, the game literally looks like it's trying to be modern, but it's 20 years in the past at this point. You know? That's how, in reality, bad the Starfield situation is. So, he's doing a really good job. I bet he's actually selling this idea that Starfield's not that bad for people who have not played the game.
Have always been, kind of janky and whatnot. They've always had this fun factor, the sense of wonder of just being able to kind of like go anywhere and always find some curiosity. And with Starfield and how much just loading screens there are, how much stuff is accessed through menus, which are also clumsily implemented, Starfield, I think, loses the one thing that Bethesda games could ride on despite all of the janky elements. And so all the other stuff, all the other flaws just stand out that much more in Starfield. And that's, I think, why we're seeing such a generally mixed score. And compare that to, say, Skyrim, which is sitting at an overwhelmingly positive score of 95%. Even Fallout 4 is sitting at a positive review score of 83%.
Yeah, Fallout 4 is not great, but, it's not bad. I shouldn't say it's not great. Fallout 4 got a lot of flack, and I get it. It definitely felt like a letdown after playing things like New Vegas and whatnot. But, overall, Fallout wasn't that actually bad. There were some really cool moments, even though the meme about Fallout 4 being yes, no, angry, yes, angry, no, pretty accurate, but, it did have its moment where the RPG part did shine through, honestly, in some situations. One of my favorite ones is... Well, some of you know about this one, but it's a really great moment in Fallout 4, honestly, is when you get to the Institute quest line where you have to get that doctor who's really smart out of a house, and you arrive there and Minutemen are already there. And if you're the leader of the Minutemen, you can just go up to the Minutemen and tell them, hey, it's me, your boy. What up, Buttercup? And they're like, oh shit, Zoe here! And then they're like, okay, boss, we going away. And they're like, why we going away? Well, aren't those like synths? And they're poking them in the head and the synths are like, beep, boop, bop. Yeah, those are some really good moments. Fallout 4 doesn't have a lot of them, but there are some. Starfield doesn't have a single one of them. Not even a slightly good moment. You can't even overdose Mama Murphy in Starfield. There's not even a Mama Murphy equivalent of Starfield, and I honestly think every game should have a Mama Murphy.
It's a pretty stark difference. I think there's a general sense that Starfield might be Bethesda's weakest single-player entry, with many calling it the epitome of wide as an ocean, but shallow as a puddle. Even looking at player numbers...
That's... No one's calling it that.
While it's natural for...
Everyone's just calling it super shit.
A single-player game to eventually dip in player numbers once people are finished with it, It's worth noting that Starfield currently has a 24-hour peak of 18,000 players, which is less than Skyrim's 24-hour peak of 23,000
True.
players, and not too far off from Fallout 4.
Wait, what's young Yad doing? Is he buying a house? Because we have a house ad here, and we have a furniture ad here. That's what you... Dad, you buy furniture when you're buying a house, and young Yad is a millionaire. Ooh, time to... Maybe he's gonna buy a Lambo also, but yeah. Okay, so young Yad is buying a new house, everyone. You heard it here first.
Not too far off from Fallout 4's 24-hour peak of almost 15,000 players. Now, I think that's in part because Fallout 4 and Skyrim do have modding tools that are officially available, so mods play a big part in that. I think when modding tools for Starfield come out, we might...
Wait, what do you mean official modding tools? Skyrim and Fallout are still through... aren't they still done through Nexus mods? The same currently Starfield is? And the only thing that keeps these players playing is, by the way, mods. 100%. That's not even close. That is true. Mods keep people playing Skyrim forever. Mods keep playing keep people playing Fallout 4 forever. But you gotta remember, mods are something that less than 0.1% of the player base actually ever use. So there you go.
Might see those numbers rise up again. But I think there's a general sense that Starfield is drawing a lot less buzz and a lot less interest, and it's just a game that's a lot less interesting to players compared to past Bethesda releases. And we'll see if that will change with expansions and with mod support. Now, while we wait to see what happens on that front, something that's caught a lot of people's attention is the fact that Bethesda has been responding to negative reviews on Steam. So if you go to Starfield reviews right now and look at the list here, you can see that some of the negative reviews here feature a developer has responded to this review notice that you can click on, and you can find what the developer said. And it's not just one or two reviews, it's quite a number of them. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, I mean 15 just in this one page alone. But I've kind of compiled a couple of those developer comments and responses to those negative reviews to see what they had to say. And I, for one, have no issue with developers trying to communicate with players. But I think there's also a way to do it where it does feel sincere and it doesn't feel like you're trying to tell people you're wrong about feeling the way you do about the game. And that's why the way Bethesda responded here, it just feels kind of hollow, and it's just not something that's being seen as a positive.
Dude, kind of hollow. Okay. I actually talked about this previously. We already know what the Bethesda responses are going to be. ChatGPT copy-paste type of things. And Todd Howard's realism. First time on the moon wasn't boring, boys. Yeah, that type of stupid crap. This is a game, Todd. I don't care how fun it was on the moon for the first time or the 5th time. I'm not on the moon. I'm in a game. And that moon better be filled with coke and strippers. Otherwise, I'm kind of pissed, not gonna lie. Also, yeah, but he's actually right about this one. But there's this way of handling this is the worst. They're not being like, oh, Onisama, please, we suck diku, we make you hard. No, it's none of that. It's absolutely none of that. It's you're stupid, you don't like the game because you're stupid. And that's obviously not going to go well with a lot of people.
Development. So, for example, here we have a review who did not recommend the game. I mean, 256.1 hours on record. They've played this game quite a bit, 183.2 hours played at review time, and complain about many of the things that a lot of people complained about. And looking at the developer response here, they try to justify some of the things that the user complained about. One of the things that they recommend when it comes to like the game just feels kind of boring is to try creating different characters with backgrounds and characteristics that clash or opposite of your previous character.
Backgrounds are completely useless except 2. There you go. Completely useless.
you'll feel like you're playing a totally different game to a degree. But one of the things that people complain about with Starfield is that a lot of the choices you make, especially when it comes to dialogue, just doesn't really seem to affect the outcome of events all that much. There are
Doesn't really seem to affect, or it literally never affects. Because the correct answer is it literally never affects anything, okay? In Starfield, there's no outcome that's not on rails. Best case scenario, you get to choose violence or peaceful resolution, and that's pretty much it. But the outcome is always going to be the same. If you choose violence, the outcome is the same no matter what. If you choose peaceful resolution, nothing changes. There is never a change in what happens after that, even if you choose one of the only two options you have in the game.
a handful of key decisions here that do impact who lives and who dies here and there, but generally it doesn't feel like your choices have that much of an influence on the way things play out and, you know, what ending you get and all these things. But Bethesda here insists that when it comes to Starfield, you'll be faced with completely different decisions to make and difficulties to encounter when you make new characters and try new things. There are so many different layers to Starfield that you'll find things you never knew were possible after playing for hundreds of hours. And while it's true that you will find new things with the way New Game Plus works in this game after hundreds of hours, just the process of doing New Game Plus and the process of kind of exploring the content of Starfield is there's just enough.
The process of New Game Plus is roughly this. Every 10 New Game Pluses you get some kind of gimmick happening, and that's it. It's not really unique or special in the slightest.
Sort of roadblocks and friction between you and getting to the interesting content that I feel like looking for all that new content through all the New Game Pluses and whatnot. It's just not something that a lot of people are going to stick with, or even if they do, they'll find the experience just not as good as it could have been. And based on the fact that almost 9,000 people found this review helpful, it seems as though there are plenty of people who agree with a lot of the negative sentiments expressed here, you know. And then right here we have another user review with negative sentiments with over 6,000 people who found this review useful. Now, scrolling down the developer response here, you'll find is basically kind of copied and pasted from what they said in the previous review, where they talk about how you should try creating different...
Dude, you can fly, you can shoot, you can mine, you can... Yeah, this is a copy. This is... I don't remember when was this said, but this was Bethesda's very much open response to some kind of criticism previously. Yeah, this is literally a copy-paste. Amazing, huh?
Different characters with backgrounds and characteristics that clash or are opposite of your previous character, and you'll find it to be a totally different game, which again I don't think is entirely true. Sure, the gameplay style might change a little bit. You could go for something that's stealthy or something that's more gunplay heavy and whatnot, but generally it feels like the outcome of events will be relatively the same, save for a few key moments, rather than this being something that'll be consistent throughout your whole experience, like say Baldur's Gate 3, where, you know, every quest and every decision seems to like come back at some point, and there seems to be ramifications to your choices at every turn. Yep. That sense just isn't anywhere near as prominent in Starfield. Next up, we have a negative review here with over 4,600 people finding it useful, and one of the key complaints here is about exploration and the way there are so many loading screens and how much you have to access the menu to really traverse space. And
well, actually, that's completely incorrect. You want to access the menu, the quest menu, and instantaneously fly over to objectives through that, because that saves you 2 loading screens. That's why you want to do things through menus, because no one just wants to sit through 5 loading screens and unskippable for some reason animations in the game when you can just, you know, get 2 loading screens instead of 5. It's great.
Just the lack of seamlessness in the experience. Well, the Bethesda representative here responding by saying that the option to fly freely among planets is still there, which just isn't true. Like, yes, you can bring up the scanner and you can travel from one planet to another and land without needing to open your map, but that's as long as the planet...
Wait, you can also do that? So, this is a thing not a lot of people know. The scanner tool... Dude, this is how you know Bethesda has crafted the worst experience in gaming ever. The scanner tool is actually a quick travel device. Yeah, let that sink in. If you open up the scanner tool and you point it in the direction of something you have already uncovered, it offers you a fast travel option. Yeah, let that sink in. It just allows you an instantaneous fast travel option. Bethesda added fast travel to literally every aspect of Starfield possible because even they understood how bad the exploration is and that no one wants to do it. So, he's gonna say that you can fast travel to planets if you see them? With the scanner tool? I had no idea. That is absolutely something new to me.
Planet is visible within the area and space that you're in, and even then you're not really
Oh, he's talking about... Dude, that's not the scan tool. That's just the ship fly menu. Dude, come on.
freely flying to planets. You're just kind of activating a loading screen that leads you into the planet, and that's done in such a way where it breaks the illusion that you're genuinely exploring space, whereas in something like No Man's Sky, because you can hop in and out of planets and fly your ship around anywhere truly freely, you know, that is a much more immersive feeling sense of space exploration. In fact, it's already been proven that if you do just try to fly to a planet, you'll essentially just phase through a JPEG. There's no actual planet there to take your ship towards in a seamless fashion. When it comes to fast travel, but
also 8 hours. I mean, Todd is going for the realism.
that justified it as, remember that fast travel also has its perks, as you can do so quickly when trying to complete quests, and will always be given visual of your ship launching and landing, thus being able to appreciate all the little details that make your customized ship look unique. There are only so
Yeah, I wish I couldn't see that.
many times you can watch that ship landing or ship leaving animation before you kind of grow tired of it. And
also, by the way, they're kind of serious about this. This is why Bethesda is horrible. Because you know what I uncovered when playing this game? It's the fact that, for example, when you jump with a ship and you do all the things, it's going to show you that animation where you turn in the direction and then you engage the jump. You want to know what's crazy? That animation of you turning and then jumping, which is unskippable, unremovable, uncancelable, is not the loading screen. No. That animation exists there, and then you get the loading screen. That in the time that you're doing that animation, there's no loading screen. It doesn't do anything. When you actually do the jump, then the loading screen appears, and only then the loading is happening. That is absolutely crazy. Yeah, they're not kidding that they wanted you to appreciate the small details of the jumps and whatnot. Because again, when you're lifting off from the planet, when you see your ship going up, that's not a loading screen. That is an animation that you can skip and contribute 0 to the loading screens. And then you get the loading screen after that. That is absolutely crazy.
Customized ship look unique. There are only so many times you can watch that ship landing or ship leaving animation before you kind of grow tired of it and would ultimately just prefer if you could fly in and out of planets seamlessly. And yes, the inclusion of fast travel is not a bad thing because you can quickly travel to locations and whatnot, which is important for a game that's so massive. Previous Bethesda games have had fast travel, but the over-reliance on fast travel in Starfield is what really brings it down, whereas in past Bethesda games,
In no other past Bethesda game you ever felt like you're doing some kind of fast travel simulator. In Starfield, it's just fast traveling is 50% of your game.
you'd have to like actually explore and see what's out there and find locations before you could fast travel to them. And so there was this constant sense of like actually having to like be aware of the space around you and always a sense of discovery. Whereas in Starfield, it always feels like you're just skipping all this empty space that doesn't really have much to offer. It's just not worth like taking your ship and just like flying somewhere in a direction, because the odds are you'll probably not find anything. Even in planets, the odds are that as you walk around, you'll find the same outposts that you've seen, you know, procedurally generated before.
Yep.
In the more handcrafted planets, even if you go outside of the main city, there's not much really there. Bethesda here also tries.
It's also kind of funny that in established main city colonies, you need to still scan everything because, you know, maybe they have been living on that planet for 200 years plus, but they still have no idea what kind of life exists there on that planet. It's pretty stupid.
tries to justify the economy in this game, and
Oh, and everyone's favorite fact that even if a planet has handcrafted locations, it's still going to have RNG locations. And you know what that means? That means that you can have the stupid temple that defies gravity, it has visibly flying rocks floating around it and makes no sense. And right there to the left, you can have a mining outpost. Right there to the right, you can have a science lab. And right there to the front and back, you can have also some kind of random generated garbage. And guess what? None of these locations have ever even remotely been like, flying things in the air, rocks. Yeah, that looks sus. Also, that thing looks old, and yeah, we didn't build that. That's kind of sussy. But no, obviously no. The immersion is non-existent.
just the lackluster loot, saying that in terms of game economy, remember that the higher the difficulty you're playing on, the better items you'll receive as a drop. Enemies will be dropping more rare weapons and gear. You'll also be given the option to board and steal more expensive and valuable ships, saying, well, just increase your difficulty to get better rewards. But even generally the best rewards in Starfield even are not all that impressive because of a lack of just general weapon and loot variety. There's no there are very few in the way of like legendary weapons or whatever that feel really unique. And
I mean, no, there are actually some rewards that feel kind of unique, but the problem is, it's like the game is horribly handled. This is the first Bethesda game where they have absolutely failed at lockpicking. Like, I'm not kidding. The lockpick mini game's kind of okay. I'm not against it. I kind of like it even. But. This is the first Bethesda game where you can open a master lock and get nothing for it, okay? There has not been a single other game where you open up like a hard masters or whatever lock and you don't feel rewarded, okay? When you don't have lock picking and you can just do novice easy pick locks, you open them and you're like, oh yeah, this is more ammo, woo, you're so happy. And when you find a master lock or the hardest lock, you're like, ah, yeah, boy, we're gonna find something good here, boy. And guess what? In Starfield, the novice lock has 1 credit in it. The master lock has maybe 3 credits, and then an aluminium scrap that you can't even use in anything in the game. That's Starfield for you. It is a disappointment on every level.
And just a lot of weapons in general, given its sci-fi setting, are underwhelming. Even Fallout, I think, just had more unique weapons, whereas Starfield's weapons feel very like vanilla and generic. And
I'm not actually sure Fallout has more weapons. I'm pretty sure it doesn't actually. But the difference is in Fallout, it feels like it has more weapons. Because the weapons are better, more impactful, look better, like not designed by a 5-year-old. And, well, you know, it's just more impactful in every single way. In Starfield, you just... There's no difference. Shotguns that, you know, have perfect accuracy at sniper ranges, sniper rifles that are the best in close quarters combat, all the melee weapons feel the same. Everything in Starfield's weapon-wise just feels horrible. Really does.
A lot of the stuff you get that are higher level weapons, it's just, you know, a weapon that you've already seen before with higher stats or with certain specific mods, but nothing really crazy that makes you feel the sense of, oh my god, this is so cool what I just looted here.
True, even when you find a completely broken gun that's a random drop from a normal enemy that suddenly allows you to one-shot everything in the game at level 10 until you're level 1 billion. Yeah, well, you know, it is what it is. That's not gonna change. But man, remember in Fallout New Vegas? When you finally got the antimatter rifle? Oh, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Okay? Remember the good old times? No more stupid sawed-off hunting rifle. Finally, the antimatter one. put in an explosive round, baby. Oh, it felt so good. Nothing in Starfield even remotely comes close.
Here's another user review with over 4,600 people that found this review helpful. The developer here talks about the excess of loading screens in between fast traveling, saying just consider the amount of data for the expansive gameplay that is procedurally generated to load flawlessly in under 3 seconds. We believe that shortcut.
Yeah, it doesn't load under 3 seconds. I'm pretty much... if someone has a PC that's worth 100k, I'm pretty sure it doesn't even load under 3 seconds.
I mean, will not hinder our players from getting lost in the world we created. So I guess this is...
It does. It really does. And also, that's a blatant lie. Well, it's not a blatant lie, but... Dude, I'm not a developer. I don't care. I don't care if you had to sacrifice lives to make this game. Just make it good. I don't care how much data there is to consider. I don't care about how much innovation and technology there was to do this. I literally will never care. I don't care if you got a breakthrough in, I don't know, some kind of garbage for gaming. I just care about the game being good. It's not my job to think about, oh, poor developers. They needed to make this load screen bad and feel horrible so the game runs smoothly. How about you just fire the person who did it and then threaten him, okay? Or something like that. Because I don't care. I absolutely don't care. You make bad loading screens, I don't care if there's Narnia behind them. They're bad. Deal with it. Anyway, is this the whole video? Yeah, well, Young really goes in and deep into these ones. Well, whatever. I'm done. Anyway, this was Quizzer Said. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and vote, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.